Hello, fellow investors. Thank you for joining and tuning into Ascending Abundance YouTube channel. My name is Pavel Sverdlin, and I explore quick ways of making money on the stock market, real estate, crypto, business, or any other opportunity that could help us get ahead. While I like the way that people could retire on small amounts of money, saving and living frugally, and that's a great way to go. My preference is to spend more, not less, but also earn more, not less. And there are ways of legally making a ton of money. We just need to explore them all and find what works for us. I've posted multiple videos on this channel already. This is yet another strategy that I constantly use, which is playing on volatility. And what you're seeing here is a TradingView, which is a site I just use for all kind of charting and graphs. And what you are also seeing is VIX. So VIX is a volatility of S&P 500, which is implied volatility of 30-day options on all of the S&P 500 stocks. It is calculated automatically. I believe the index is tracked by Chicago Board of Trade, so this is very much official. VIX is used to calculate all kinds of strategies. It is a mathematical formula, it's just a number. It is expressed typically between about 10 and say 100, even though it could go technically well above 100. There's no upper limit as to how high VIX could go. However, its typical range is somewhere between, well, you can guess, it's somewhere between say 40 and 15-ish. And that's the normal range for VIX. It could go spike up when the panic settles in. What I really like is that it's one, very volatile. It could go up and down really quickly, and therefore the instruments that are trading off of VIX could be expensive, and they move in value a lot. And number two, it's more or less predictable. When VIX spikes, that's the fear of the market. It cannot be manipulated by a single company, no CEO, nobody can go rogue. It's not mined, it's just a formula, it's math, it's the measure of fear on the market. And when it spikes, and you can see there are multiple spikes here, it always comes down. Fear does not last forever. It could run for a couple of months maybe, at most, and then it dramatically comes down. So my favorite thing is to find VIX that is a little bit higher than average, and then either trade it, short it and write it down, or just sell call options on VIX in the expectation that it either comes down and never jumps too high, or if it really jumps really high above the call option values that I'm trading, then I can just short it at that level and then write it down. Either way, I'm planning on it to come down every time that it spikes, and as you can see, it always does. What you're seeing here is a long-term view from 1995 to 2023. So we're talking 30 years almost of charting. Can go even back, I guess, over to 91. And levels at about, I'd say 40-ish, come in really rarely. A level of 40 could be achieved, so this is what, 98, 99, then the next time they saw a 40 was 2001, then 2002, and then we haven't seen it until 2008. So to achieve a level of about 40, that's like once in a few years occasion, and even then it just kind of spikes up and goes back down. Takes maybe a few months here, it didn't take much here. Even in a huge financial crisis, these spikes went above 80, and it was phenomenal. It's highly risky. However, it went down to the 40s really quick within a matter of a couple of months, and then another couple of months and it's back down to the 30s, and then it took a while, but it eventually settled all the way back in. There's been spikes up and down again, but these ones again settled down. So if it goes above 40, I'm happy. So there are ways of playing VIX on futures. So you can't buy VIX in itself. It's not a security, it's a formula, it's a calculation. But if you go to VIX Central, this one gives you the chart of the futures on VIX. So today's VIX value, it closed on Friday at 25.51. However, March VIX contract is trading at 25.8, that's the futures contract. April is 26.10, and so on, so it goes. So you can trade any one of these futures. They go in contango, they go in backwardation, they can spike up and down. But what I find quite useful is to trade at least 1 or 2 months out, so that it's safer. You have a little bit of time, at least a month or two, for VIX to settle down. They're usually kind of higher if the VIX is in contango, then month 2 is kind of higher, so it's more for it to fall. And then also, if it doesn't quite fall, if the current VIX is super high, let's say the spot would be like 40, 50 that you've seen, then month 2 is not going to be as high. It's just going to be, you know, the month 1 would be 50, month 2 would be 40. So, you know, you're not risking as much there too. It's a little bit less volatile than just complete spot, which can be traded anyway. So I trade the months 2, months 3 sometimes, and either short it outright if it's high enough, and I prefer to short at least at 30. So kind of go back here, so at least at 30 you could see that these spikes, they come down a lot. It could spike a little bit above, but then it's quickly goes back down. So all of these 30 and higher, like 30, 35, that's excellent entry points. Now sometimes, and you could see, sometimes above 35 you could get in trouble. You short at 35 and it spikes up to 50. You short it at 35, where is it? Started at 35 and goes all the way to 80. So the cure to that, and my personal kind of secret, is figuring out where to expect the spikes to 80 and where to expect the spikes maybe to 45, 50 at most. So to me, anything above 35 is super safe if the volatility in the market has been caused by something known. So for example, right now VIX is at 25, which is a little bit higher than average, and it is higher than average because people are afraid that the banks are going to fail. Banks are stressed. Credit Suisse in Europe is experiencing some problems. In the United States, they just closed down Silicon Valley Bank, and there's a couple of others that have been affected. But it's not net new. Banking crisis has happened before. Banking is hardly regulated. I don't believe this crisis is highly contagious. I do know that the Fed has a ton of programs already in place from 2008 playbook that they can deploy. So this is not something unheard of. And I don't expect VIX to spike above, say, 35-ish, maybe 40 at most. So the risk is small and it's going to come down. So your true risk is maybe if you shorted at 25, 30, goes up to 40, maybe you lose $10,000 in the short term. And then you just wait for it to come down, and it's just going to go down and you still make money. Where it spikes to 80, and that's where you can lose a lot of money, especially in the margin. And that's where the risks on the market are not well understood. So this one was COVID. Nobody knew what COVID looks like. Everybody was panicking. It was just new, completely new, unexpected event, like that black swan that nobody even calculated. 2008, systemic risk, almost a bank failure of the entire United States. Most of the Americans got affected. People lost homes and tens of millions of families. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Something completely unexpected. Nobody knew what subprime mortgages were. It was some sort of obscure term, completely new. If I again compare it to today, Credit Suisse is probably going bankrupt. Oh well, it's one of the banks of the many. You know, there are regulations in place, they're watching it, there's liquidity in the market, nothing exceptionally new. It's not compared to COVID that nobody could even fathom what the implications could be for the world. So in those cases, maybe today we'll see a spike, not today, next week, maybe we'll see a spike to 35, maybe, I don't know what, maybe another bank falls and it goes all the way to 40, and then woof, it goes again. So short those VIX, monitor it, and I'll come back with more ways of how to trade VIX. It's one of my favorite trades. It makes me money. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please connect, reach out, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and like this YouTube channel so I can post more videos. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.